Welcome to 2-Minute Tips to Thrive at 2. Today is March 31st, which ends Women's History Month. Last night, when I was watching the TV show Alaska Daily, which is about a newspaper in Alaska, it reminded me of an issue that's very dear to me, MMIW. Alaska Daily, the TV show, explores this problem in depth. MMIW is Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women, and it's a bigger problem than most of us realize. God bless this TV show for pointing out so much about this issue. What I never knew until we started learning about it in my Zonta organization is that Indigenous women in the United States are 10 times more likely to be raped. In Canada, they're 6 times more likely to be murdered than other women. And many of these atrocities take place on Indian reservations. So what's the big deal, you might ask? Well, the big deal is taking anyone to court for any of these atrocities. You see, I guess it's popular for people who are not Native American or Indigenous to travel onto Indian reservations and rape women. And potentially things get dicey and they might end in murder. What's the problem? Well, because the perpetrators are not residents of the reservation, they are citizens of the America or Canada, they cannot be persecuted on the reservation. And they cannot be persecuted under law in America or Canada because the atrocity took place on the reservation. Now, in the United States, VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, was adopted in the early 1910 area, which allows limited prosecution. There have been several attempts to introduce legislation in Congress in the United States to beef up what can be prosecuted, but it never manages to make it through both houses. It is an issue. It affects a large number of people who are actually citizens of the United States as well. And I'm asking you to be aware. If you see red sand on the street in the cracks, that's probably an activist group has put red sand out to represent the bloodshed. It's called the Red Sand Project. You may see COVID masks with a hand across them. They're often black with a red hand or red with a black hand. That represents the bloodshed and the atrocities. So I'm sorry to end Women's History Month on a downer, but we know throughout history, women have fought to come close to almost equal to men. And that fight continues even more on Indian reservations and other countries around the world. So I ask you to just say a prayer, perhaps write your legislators, spread word about this problem, and be grateful. We need to be grateful for our freedom. And that concludes my discussion of Women's History Month this year. If you have any women that you are particularly enamored with because of what they've done for the good of our country or the good of women's rights, let me know and I'll put them in the file for next year in March. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay happy, show kindness to everyone you meet. That's how we all thrive every day. Thank you for being here, and I'm going to ask you one little favor. I also posted this message, different wording, on my Facebook page, Thrive Every Day. Would you be so kind as to go to that page, comment on that post, and join the page? I'm trying to get to 100 people that are following me there so I can see the metrics of how many people are actually viewing my page. That would be a huge help. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I don't ask for you to help me very often, but I would really appreciate some action on Thrive every day.